Hey guys, Randy here with the Gateway to Heroes podcast, and these are my recommendations and polls for the week. Hope everybody had a great Thanksgiving. Mine was pretty good. We were the ones who hosted this year, so I have more than the usual amount of leftovers because everybody doesn't take everything home. So now I've got turkey and stuffing and mashed potatoes and all that good stuff. Um, Want to give shout outs to Enos L. Nickens and his feature Big Nick's Picks, which he does here every week on our Gateway to Heroes podcast group page. Also to Eddie Nieves and his YouTube channel, Eddie From the Batcave, who posts here every week as well. Thank you guys both very much. Um, I have a pretty big pull this week. I think I had like 10 or 11 books, and there's actually two books that I didn't get because I think Diamond had an issue this week and they lost some 70,000 comics when they changed warehouses or what have you. So I'm hoping I get those two books next week. But going into it here, um, Universal Monsters, Image Comics, Frankenstein, issue number 4. This is written and illustrated by Michael Walsh. This is the last of this series. Some of this art is really fantastic by Michael Walsh. Let's see if I've got the classic scene where they're burning the windmill from the movie. This retells the movie, but with an extra character in it as well. Here's this really great scene where the Frankenstein monster shows up at the lake with the little girl that's like floating the flowers. So Image has done at least 3 of these Universal Monster series. They've done the Dracula, Creature of the Black Lagoon Lives, and now Frankenstein. I really can't wait to see what's going to come next. I'm betting it's going to be the Wolfman. All right. Um, from Image Comics also by Tony Fleeks and Tone Rodriguez, as well as Trish Forstner. Feral number 8. Really love this series. I do unfortunately feel that this might be about to go down the same type of scary track that he did with Stray Dogs. Not going to give away what's going on here, but let's just say that while the main characters appear to have been rescued, there seems to be a dark secret with their rescuer going on too. So, Feral issue 8. If you're not reading this, this is a great series as well. Um, Joe Kelly and Ed McGuinness, Spider-Man number 62, part 2 of the 8 Deaths of Spider-Man. Still kind of on the fence about this. Might get a little better. I do like the fact that we get um, Black Cat in here dropping a hint to Spider-Man that I'm single again, right? So I would really like to see them put Peter Parker and Felicia Hardy back together. But currently in this series, he is seeing this other woman named Shay. So, Joe Kelly, if you're listening, dump that relationship, get him back with Felicia, please. Okay. Um, okay. So, Absolute Wonder Woman number 2 by Kelly Thompson with art by Hayden Sherman. I actually had the Joelle Jones cardstock cover here. Really like this cover, and again, DC does the whole regular cover inside. Eddie Nieves, I think this is the cover you said you were trying to get that you didn't find. If that is the case, message me and I will see if my comic shop has an extra next week, and we'll pick you one up. Okay. Um, I'm still really liking this story with the whole Diana being raised in hell by Cersei. However, there is one thing that takes place in here that I'm kind of wish they had just stayed away from. And I'll just go ahead and tell you that we get the whole Steve Trevor thing again with Diana and Steve Trevor having been like a relationship and partners. And I feel if you're telling a new, darker Wonder Woman, just take Steve Trevor out totally. We don't need him. He's always been a bit character. I know that's a horrible thing to say, but as far as supporting characters go, he is one of the weakest in my opinion. Okay. Um, Action Comics number 1077. This is week 8 of the Phantom Story by Mark Waid with art by Clayton Henry and Michael Shelfer. Also, part 8 of the Supergirl Universe End by Mariko Tamaki, but this has a new artist this time around. Let me look at my notes here. Mikhail Janin. I'm sorry, wrong artist. Megan Hetrick is now the artist on issue or part 8 of the Supergirl story. I think that might just be a temporary thing. Still really good story. I like what they're doing. Superman gets back to Earth here, so that's good. Um, Detective Comics 1091, written by Tom Taylor, and this is art by Mikhail Janet. I actually like this story. This is a really nice story. I think Eddie Nieves pointed as well that there is a chance for Bruce to get some youth back, and that story is playing out really well. I also do love the cameo in here by Penguin in the Iceberg Lounge, so I like where this story is going. All right. Flash number 15 by Simon Spurrier with art by Vasco Djorov. Again, if I get that name wrong, you can always just hit me there, tell me what it is, okay? Haven't read this yet. I will say that the Flash series has been kind of more missed than hit for me, so this title might get dumped, okay? Haven't read this one yet. Really looking forward to it. Justice League Unlimited #1 by Mark Waid with art by Dan Mora. I know that there is a lot of variant covers out there. I just opted to get the standard cover. The only concern I have here is if you'll notice, it says there is a Hush 2 preview by Jeff Loeb and Jim Lee. I'm afraid this is going to be a thing where the whole book is not the entire Justice League story, and I get 3 or 4 filler pages of a Batman story coming up. Not that I dislike Batman, not that I dislike Hush. I'm just tired of being shortchanged on some of the page count to put previews and backup features in them. And that's all I'm going to say. Power Girl 15, written by Leah Williams with art by Adriana Melo. I have the Jeff Deacle cardstock cover, but before I show you that, this is the regular cover, okay? Let me show you this awesome Jeff Deacle cardstock cover. Is that not a beautiful cover? Look at this thing. Um, yes, I will freely admit the male chauvinist in me is part of what is driving the love for this cover. But I mean, this is just an absolute beautiful cover. Haven't read this yet. Sadly, this is another series that's just kind of doing so-so for me. I'd really hate to drop it, especially when they're putting out great covers like this. But if the story is not going to get much more engrossing, I might have to. Also, I think this is a stupid name for a character. Ejecta. I just, ugh, not sitting well with me. Superman #20 by Joshua Williamson and Dan Mora. Haven't read this yet. Looking forward to it. Both the Superman and the Action Comic titles have been really good here the last couple months, so I can't wait to see what's going on with this one. All right, couple shout outs here. Um, Last week, I did mention that my friend Al Butler reached out to me about the question All Along the Watchtower #1 and told me it reminded him a bit of Identity Crisis. I got around to reading this finally last week, and yes, Al, you are absolutely correct. If you liked Identity Crisis, go out, get Question All Along the Watchtower #1 because this very much has a Identity Crisis vibe playing out already. I don't want to give away too much of it, but let me just put it this way. If you remember, the Question is now Renee Montoya, who was a police detective, and there you go. It's all you need to know. What would the Justice League need with a police detective, right? Especially one who doesn't really have any superpowers. So, also, got a present last week from my friends Tammy and James May. They gave me these awesome little Justice League action figures. So, as you can see, I've got a Superman here, but they didn't just get me the Justice League action figures, they got me two of each one. So as you can see, I have two Superman here. I have two Batman. Look at these things. I'm going to put them up close for you. I also have two Wonder Woman. And I have two Flash. As well as I have two Aquaman. Okay. They're really small. I do like these things. Like the action poses on them. I am going to put a challenge out there. If you guys know any more of these figures, like if by chance there happens to be, say, a Green Lantern or a Zatanna or maybe even a Black Canary, I will trade you one of my extras for any of those that you find. Remember, I've got 5 extras here. I got Superman, Batman, Wonder Woman, Flash, and Aquaman. So I have at least 5 extras that if you find any in this series, say Green Lantern, Black Canary's antenna, what have you, contact me at our web address, Gateway Heroes Podcast, whichever one you have, and I will trade you one of my extras for what you have. All right, guys, that is it for my polls for the week. I don't know what's coming out next week. I think I got a small poll, maybe only 4 or 5 books, but hopefully those two that didn't come out last week or this week will come in, and I can touch base on those. In case you're wondering, it should be, I think, Red Before Black number 3, and then Hello Darkness number 5 were the 2 books that were supposed to be in my box, but I didn't get them. All right, I'll see you guys next week.